I'm gonna try to make my son some gong targets there. I got that boy's a heavy chain there. I found that out there by one of my old stumps, and I don't know if you see how thick it is, but it's probably a half inch, I guess. And this one I'm gonna try to keep one of these and see if I can fix me a backing plate for my 3-jaw chuck. But I'm gonna make him another one out of this metal here. It's not as thick, but if we don't shoot anything too heavy, it'll probably be all right. I'm gonna cut this out with my plasma cutter, and I gotta put some chains back on and stuff. We'll get to it here in a minute, I guess. I'm gonna try to make this kind of a two-side circle thing there, kind of a little something different, just a regular old round thing. So we got to get everything all lined out here. Get a little bare spot there so they can get a little ground on it for the plasma cutter to work. And this is really kind of noisy. The reason why I'm not doing the actual sound of the video at this point, because when we turn the welder on and everything else, it gets really hard to hear. So we're gonna the plasma cutter is not particularly loud as far as that is, except your air and your fire and all that stuff. So well, once I get through pondering here, we'll get busy and figure out what we're doing. Got my little safety goggles. The reason safety goggles, because you do need some kind of little shade to the, I mean, that's pretty bright, as you'll probably see here. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to see if it's working, and it's not working. It's supposed to be a plasma arc, and it's not arcing at all. So we'll try a few things as usual. You don't want to try to put new parts in unless you have to, but it's looking like it's not. That's not the way it's supposed to work. And on a regular plasma cutter, it's not pilot arc. That would probably be right, but that's not the way this works. The pilot arc, what that is you don't have to make a ground to start your burner, whatever you want to call it. It automatically starts itself, so you don't have to strike an arc like an electric welder. So what we're going to do here now is going to take and change the consumables on there. Which these things are not high anymore. Actually, the plasma cutter came down. I think I get around 300 for this one now. I believe last I looked, around 200 bucks, And them consumables are not expensive anymore either. So now this is not one of your high grade plasma cutters. I mean, you can go up in the thousands if you want to. But for what I do, it certainly is not worth that. In fact, I couldn't even nowhere near afford to buy one if it was going to be like that, because I don't use one that much, and basically they're not making me any money. They're just performing on my projects, So we got a handful of parts. They're really not a handful, just two. Got that inner electrode and that outside bullet shaped deal, and that little ceramic thing on the outside. I didn't replace it because it's not burned up or nothing. Sometimes you do have to replace them, but in this case here, it wasn't hurt. So now we're going to give this a try. As you'll notice once I get through putting it together, that it's that's that little bullet thing goes on too. And then the next thing, that little pink or red colored ceramic deal. And then what happened, well, I don't know why the old one was working, of course, when I quit using it, but for some reason it wouldn't work now. So anyway, this works like it's supposed to here. You don't have to tighten them up with wrenches. See, there now it's working. See, you can't hear it spitting, spurting, but it is. So now we'll see how this works. And now this metal, I guess it's 3/16 probably, maybe, or I don't know. But it's rough and it's hard. You can't really drag your tip across there real easy. If you go too fast, it won't burn through. If you see those sparks going straight down, that's when it's working right. But if they blow back at you, they're not. And after a while, if you that does that enough times, it's kind of like it's perforated, but it won't break loose. So you got to hold it steady, and you're supposed to actually hold it just a little bit above your work. But I think for the most part, I didn't let it drag across it. You know, it may mess up your consumables more that way, but um, it still works pretty good for me that way. I don't know. There again, as I said 100 times, I'm not an expert at anything, so it's taken me a while to do this. And this is not the ideal stand for it to be on. I got that big chunk of iron underneath there to balance it. I don't want to cut my little metal milk crate up completely, because that will go through and cut that too. But anyway, I just will shut up for a second here and watch a little bit of that cutting going on. Matter of fact, we may move right along here because that cutting is kind of same thing all the way through, and so it's no point really having to watch all that. We'll watch a little bit more of it. Yeah, so that's going to be the sort of the head of it there. I'm not very good at this editor thing. I know I can speed it up, but I don't know exactly how you do that and do your voiceover at the same time. So maybe you can't. I don't know. That's kind of an unhandy thing to use for a marker there. That was the back end off my old chicken plucker, which was a big joke. And of course, it's got, well, that's where the cover the motor fan on it. It's got them holes in it so that sparks in it come right up and hit you in the hand. After a while, it's pretty hot. So you have to do something different about that. Yeah, this little cutter is fine, but like I say, some thicker like this, it takes a little while. It'll do it, but it just takes longer. When you go cut that thin sheet metal stuff, you can just pull it through there faster. You can pull it through and cut it right off. And it's not like a cutting torch in that it leaves a whole lot of heat. It does get hot. The metal does get hot, but it's not like cutting torch is red hot. It has to be in order to blow through it. And this don't do that. It almost instantly gets hot enough to go right through that stuff. And but anyway, we're gonna hold off on this second here and move forward a little bit. I don't want to bore you too much with this. Alrighty, well, we're still going at it. I still got part of the, well, maybe a little quicker here for you because it's the same thing over and over. You just keep watching the sparks, kind of like a miniature 4th of July celebration there, I guess. Yeah, it's a little tricky to cut this because, like I say, it's a little bit thick, but not nearly impossible to cut. You can cut 1/2 inch, but it just takes so long. You've got to let such a burn for a while. That's one advantage of the great big model, the more expensive ones. They cut through, probably some of them things cut through 1 inch, I don't know that. I've never tried it with them kind, but these home owner kind is plenty good for me. Like I say, the price is not that bad. You don't have to buy any gas for it or anything. You just hook it up to your air compressor, but you do need a fairly good air compressor. I will say that. These little pancake jobs will never do it. And, you also need your, you can hook it up either 220 or 110 or one. Well, that's another thing. When I was younger, everything was 110 or 220. Now then it's 220 and 120 and 240. I don't know where to get this changing, but anyway, you can hook it up either way. There's a plug it either way on there. So, being I got the 220 in here, I'll go ahead and use it. Because I don't know, I get the feeling maybe it's a little bit stronger. I don't know, maybe it don't make a bit of difference. But so in other words, you can use these in your house if you want it at your house where you don't have no. Well, of course, you would have your 220 anyway if you got a dryer or a electric water heater. But anyway, this is dragging on again. It's taking me a while to do this. So I guess we'll. I don't know whether. Let's see. Now, I think we're going to stop this here for a little bit and move ahead because this is boring. It's boring to me, it was. Well, it looks like we're getting pretty close to the end of it here. and get that part done. We got other stuff we got to do to continue this thing, but cutting this piece out here, it's kind of, I mean, it's not, well, when you're doing this, it's really kind of enjoyable in a way. It's not, one thing, if I can do something sitting down, well, I'm good, you know. But, because of that, as everybody knows, I feel ache about it. My breathing ain't that good. My back and legs hurt and everything. Well, when you get to be an antique, I guess you got to expect that these things ain't perfect anymore. Kind of sad to say that, but that's the way the old cookie crumbles. All right, and that old disc there was one of my cut-off discs, and this got down almost too low. That's a problem with them kind. I'd like to have one of them, oh, I don't remember what you call them, Evolutions or whatever they are, that's got the teeth on them, but that's too expensive. I can't do that. Once these get down past a certain point, well, they're really kind of useless. So I don't know what we're doing here now. I got pondering a little bit. Now we're going to try to figure some way to mount this thing with the chains and stuff, and make it where it's kind of angled downward so your bullets don't go straight back at you. Hopefully they kind of deflect to the ground. And as we'll see, this method here doesn't seem to work. First off, I don't like messing with galvanized anyway. The fumes can be deadly, but I mean, you got breathing problems already, don't even be sniffing that stuff. But nonetheless, I did try to rig up this thing on there. I'm going to run a pipe through it, or a rod through it, and see if that worked. But it really didn't weld good because you got that. I don't know. It was just kind of a mess. So, in other words, it just burned holes in this pipe and everything. I don't know. I should have known better than try. So anyway, we're gonna go to something else here in about a minute. I'm gonna try this other theory. That thing with the pipe just didn't pan out at all. This is just that rod I was gonna use inside that pipe. But I come to the conclusion that this here works just as well and don't have the problem messing with that galvanized stuff. Get it kind of centered here, kind of balance it to work. I think it hits down a little, but not just too much when you're hanging up on the rack. We'll get this little welder up here and get ready to do the next little project. This is obviously just welding, so nothing too bad. Well, hopefully we've done this welding in just about a minute. We'll see what goes on next. I always have to do a little sitting there and thinking before I proceed, and that's kind of a time killer when it comes to the videos. But now, of course, that's going to be hot, dummy. That's why it's going to work. Now, part facing me and where you'll be shooting, and it does tip downwards a little. Yeah, it was a little warm. One of these days we'll learn whenever we get older, you know. But as a kid like this, you got a lot to learn yet. So now then we got that part figured out. See, a lot of this is time consuming because it takes a lot of, well, I guess it takes a lot of planning and everything away, but it's nothing technical. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna get some nuts and we'll slide over that rod. I'll put one inside and one outside, weld them, or one outside the chain, one inside the chain, weld them. That way the chain won't slip off. I'm not using that heavy chain like I did on the other one. The other is what you call overkill. You could probably shoot that all day long. The chain never break it. I bet at least a ½ inch chain, you know. So now we're going out there and see if we can figure out something. I don't know what I'm trying to do, honestly. Oh, there's that one. He's going to cut the chain off that. Right, so we can use that chain. That's about the right size for what we need here. Get the old trusty angle grinder out, cut that off. I'll tell you what, some of them, I know it's hard to find good blades for these angle grinders, or they're cutoff blades. This one here, I thought I'd try something besides Harbor Freight. Well, they ain't no better. Probably still made in the same Chinese shop. But anyway, they work. They wasn't too expensive for a whole bunch of them, so I guess all it is aggravation to change them. So we got that chain cut off. Now we're going to see if same amount of links. Obviously, don't sitting in there all whopper jawed or nothing. So we'll measure them right quick and see if there's, I don't know, 7 or 8 links in it. I don't remember what it was. I counted, but I don't remember now what it was. So, yeah, I think they're the same thing. So then we'll get that all rigged up here and look and see how we do that with that. So this will take time to look for everything. What it is, I'm going to find a couple of big, well, 4 big nuts that goes over this shaft here, so we can have something to suspend the chain from, so we don't fall off the edges. So we'll move along here, and we'll get back when we get farther done. All right, I'm just welding them nuts there so that the chain don't slip off, and that'll be a way to suspend it from that pipe, which I didn't really go into detail showing how I made the hanging support and all that, but well, I'll show it to you at the end here when we get down. I laid it out kind of on the ground like it's supposed to look and everything, but so all this is here is just another little more of the same, putting that nut on there first, and then putting the chain on, and then put the other nut on, and then weld the nuts, because that way you can swing that thing a little bit. Alrighty, what we're doing here is cutting out some little squares, basically the washers. When I put this up on the support hanger up there where they're going to hang from, then we run that through, because them big chains, they just slip, 5/16 bolt will slip right through them. So we'll cut these things out. You'll notice that real thin stuff just cuts real easy. And of course, I'll make a boo-boo on that one as usual. But anyway, we'll get this all taken care of here. Get that done. I probably won't show the drilling holes, because that's pretty basic. Just drill a hole in squares and use it for washers, basically. So just hold it so the chain don't slip through over the nut and bolt and all that. So, well, I guess that's good enough for this little part right here. Go over that berm, so that's the way that goes. All right, well, I'm going to drill the holes in this shortly, and I'll try to lay this out and show you how it works. It's supposed to work anyway. Oh, get up, Patty. Oh. Okay, this is basically how it's supposed to lay out. This, of course, would be stuck in the ground. I don't know if it's really long enough or not. And then comes up and we got chain it to that, chain it to that, turn the other one to this, chain it, this one to this, and then it goes in like that. So I'm thinking it ought to work, so if it tears up, we can always do it again. Not a beautiful sight, but not too bad. All right, that's it for now.